Welcome, everyone. Welcome to our celebration. It's Gala 2022 Brighter Together, right here at the Triple Door. And hello to everyone watching across the country via our live stream. Hi, Marianne and Shirley in Louisiana. We are celebrating. We've all had a tough few years, but the worst part about it is we've been apart, not sharing space, not being in community together. It's been almost like an extended breakup.
Sure, sometimes I feel so insecure, and love so distant and obscure remains the cure. All by myself, don't wanna be all by myself anymore. All by myself, don't wanna be all by myself anymore.
You came.
Of course I did. Did you think I wouldn't?
I didn't know. It's been so long since we were face to face together.
Or me masked and you on stage 6 feet away?
Thank you for showing your vaccine card at the door.
It's a little inconvenient, but if it makes seeing you, it was worth it.
Thank you. Not everyone feels that way. I hate that COVID kept us apart for so long.
No, Taproot. We'll always have Zoom. And streaming. You made yourself known digitally.
Yes, but long distance just didn't feel the same. There was still a barrier. We were still separated.
Oh, but I knew that you were thinking of me. Sending me stories over the internet.
Yes, I was. I was thinking of you constantly. I wondered, will audience remember what we meant to each other all these years, now that we can't be together?
I remember.
Will audience and I still have that same spark?
Well, how could you doubt me after all of these years?
Well, after the Noltes retired, I wondered if you might not see me in the same way.
I see you, Taproot. Sure, you've changed after these last 2 years, but haven't we all? At the core, you're still the same.
You noticed that?
I did.
So, there really is a future for us?
Taproot, I know that the pandemic has made you feel weak, but you are strong. You are resilient. And together, we can build back stronger and shine brighter than ever before.
Yes, audience. We will shine brighter.
Together.
Reunited, and it feels so good. Reunited, 'cause we understood there's one perfect fit.
And
Taproot, this one is it. We both are so excited 'cause we're reunited. Hey, hey.
It's been so long, I want you by my side. Me minus you is such a lonely ride. The distance we had has made me lonesome and sad. I realize I need you 'cause you make me glad. Hey, hey.
I spent my 2 years with the internet.
He did.
I hate the moments that we never met. Oh, our distance made clear that you should always be near. I know that I will resubscribe every year. Hey, hey. Reunited and it feels so good. Reunited 'cause we understood. There's one perfect fit. And Taproot, this one is it. We both are so excited 'cause we're reunited. Hey,
Hello. My name is Shanna Allman, and I'm an actor who has had the great privilege of appearing on the Taproot stage. Taproot did an incredible job pivoting with the ever-changing landscape of the past few years with the digital options you just saw. They even recorded and streamed the last 3 main stage performances for people who were still nervous about getting out into public. That was me, falling down, and see how they run. But I want to tell you about the behind-the-scenes experiences we actors encounter as guests doing live performances at Taproot Theater. When you're working on a show, the theater becomes your second home, and the other artists and crew and administrators there, your second family. And Taproot is the type of home where the door feels like it's always open, and in which you are always greeted with a smile and a warm embrace. That they are truly so happy that you are there and eager for you to come in and take your place at the table. It's the kind of home where the food is nourishing and the company stimulating and heartfelt and joyful. The kind of home where an assembly line is formed in the kitchen as dishes are washed and dried, while suds of labor mix with bubbles of laughter, and the work is made lighter by the presence of those you're with. The kind of home where you stay up way too late, just sitting around and talking because you enjoy each other's company so much. And that's just the atmosphere. That's just what you get walking in the door. That doesn't even begin to describe the commitment that everyone here shows to their work. One thing that I always say when I relay to anyone my experience of working at Taproot is how supported and facilitated I felt in my job. I remember, while working on my first show at Taproot, Miss Bennett, how there were times I felt like I barely had a request out of my mouth. Would it be possible for me to get and then it was like poof, right in my hands. Or times when I hesitated to ask for something for one reason or another, and somebody would notice and anticipate my needs and say something like, hey, do you think you could use an XYZ? It was amazing. And that's not to say that other theaters don't also function that way, because they definitely do, but I just found it to be especially true at Taproot. It's also not unusual for a company of artists and crew to become close while working on a show and to feel like family. Artists are notorious for unlacing their sternums and handing their hearts out to one another. It is, after all, what makes us good at our jobs. But Taproot definitely helps to encourage these deep bonds of friendship and camaraderie with their approach. I'd like to take a quick moment to speak specifically now of working with Karen, as she has been at the helm of my personal Taproot experiences. Karen brings to the work and to this theater a ferocious passion, a dogged tenacity, a brilliant understanding, and a whip-smart brain all wrapped up in an incredibly loving and encouraging form. It's kind of like a puppy who knows jujitsu. She makes you feel like family. She makes you feel at home. And we do. Backstage, we eat and nap and laugh and cry and share struggles and share victories and play card games. We even make an extra pot of coffee when we know someone has had an especially long day. And yes, we literally wash dishes together. We rush out of our dressing rooms to catch on the backstage monitors our favorite moments of the parts of the show that we're not in, rejoicing in one another's talents and commitments. We bring each other treats and learn each other's quirks and revel in our good fortune of getting to share that fleeting time and space with all of those tremendous, loving, devoted, passionate people, finding that, once again, we've created a whole that is better and brighter than the sum of its parts.
Thanks, Shanna. For over 40 years, Taproot's Road Company has been touring social issue plays to primary and secondary schools all over Washington state. When the world shut down in 2020, we video recorded our touring shows and presented virtual assemblies throughout the 2020-2021 school year. Late last summer, the hope of performing live in schools had returned. So we brought back the Road Company, rehearsed, and put up 2 new shows. But the best laid plans sometimes have to be reinvented.
You've been gone so long, Taproot Road Company.
I know, students. It's hard to be away.
Why can't we go back to the way things were when we were live and in person? Just isn't the same without you.
Well, the world and the pandemic are complicated things, but we still had our virtual assemblies, didn't we? 4 plays that we could send out to classes to stream.
Yeah, I guess.
And didn't you still learn how to be a supportive ally through the plays and prevent bullying?
Yeah, we did. But it's just so much more fun to watch the shows in person when I can laugh along with my friends.
Well, students, the shows were still funny, weren't they?
Yeah.
And educational.
Uh-huh.
And most of the time, you got to watch them with your friends in a classroom on a big screen, kind of like TV at school.
That's true. And it was even more fun than the Disney Channel. But I still miss having you here in person. Digital content and streaming is just not the same as seeing a story told live.
I know, students. I know. But Taproot's Road Company plans to be back live this fall in person with 2 new shows. And we're still gonna record them and send them out to classes that can't have us out. Does that sound fair?
Yeah, that sounds fair. Road Company, live theater's the best.
You're right, live theater is the best. After all, live theater makes us brighter together.
I'm Ashley Coe, and I'm a member. I'm Ashley Coe, and I am a member of Taproot's Road Company. Last fall, we did about 10 shows in person before it became clear that because of COVID, live touring would be impossible for the rest of this school year. But it wasn't all bad news. We had taken the time to record the 2 new shows, and we now have 4 Road Company shows available for virtual assemblies. They are being seen by many of our regular host schools and some that we've never been able to reach before. Since COVID, the Road Company has been seen by over 52,000 students at 120 schools in the Pacific Northwest and as far as Connecticut and New York. And we plan to continue recording our performances and offering the virtual option in the future. But nothing beats the impact of being live and in person. One of my favorite stories is when we performed our secondary show at a small high school in Linden, Washington. Our show that year was The Social Net Worth, which discussed bullying prevention and body positivity. Fun fact about performing for high schoolers is that you never know how they'll respond to your show. Elementary schoolers, they tend to love any and all assemblies, even if they are at 8 o'clock in the morning. But middle and high schoolers, they could absolutely love it or decide that it's not their cup of tea and promptly dump that cup of tea on the ground in front of you, metaphorically speaking. But this high school loved it and was wonderfully supportive. So during our talk back with the students, we felt safe enough to share our own experiences with themes from the show. One by one, we each spoke about moments in our youth where we struggled with our body image or moments where we didn't know how to advocate for our emotional needs and moments where we realized we realized that we deserved respect from others and from ourselves. I shared my own personal experiences around body negativity and bullying just before the bell rang for their next class period. As we started to pack up the set, a student came up to me with tears in her eyes and said, "Thank you so much for sharing that. I'm going through that same thing right now." And my heart broke for her, and I encouraged her to talk to a trusted adult or a close friend about what she was feeling. I reassured her that her feelings were valid, but most importantly, that she was not alone. And that was when I knew exactly how powerful the Road Company's work is. We get approximately 1 hour to empower these students, and even if we just get across to one, we have that rare chance to make their futures brighter. Through this work, we're able to show students across the Pacific Northwest, and now the nation, that they have agency, that there is hope for something better, and that they're not alone. Thank you.
I believe the children are our future. Teach them well and let them lead the way. Show them all the beauty they possess inside. might give them a sense of pride. To make it easier, let the children's laughter remind us how it used to be.
Taproot's acting studio has been going steady for 30 years. COVID has made offering classes in the acting studio a challenge. In 2020, we were able to offer over a dozen Zoom acting and drama classes. But 2021?
Since last summer, and in 2022, in-person enrollment is as strong as ever.
You're following COVID safety protocols, and my kids have had a great time.
That's great! So, no problems then?
No, not really. All the students still love it.
Okay!
All right!
And scene.
I'm James Faley, a teacher in the acting studio. The acting studio has been live, safe, and in person since last summer, and it is going strong. With students stuck at home on and off for the last 2 years, the artistic outlet that the acting studio provides has been a meaningful and unique way for students to explore their creativity. The ability to watch our students mature over the years, both in person and online, is astonishing. And participating in a place that creates a space for that is equally rewarding and remarkable. I taught with Taproot in 2020 when our classes became virtual, and it was awkward at first. But it provided us a window into our students' lives. Many students mentioned how excited they were to have something regular and creative amidst the humdrum of virtual schooling. And I recall one student saying how Taproot camps were their favorite thing every week. It was during virtual camps when we met a timid, unassuming student who asked to be called Sock. At that time, we simply rolled with it, COVID being what it is and virtual camps being what they were. We did not ask any questions. Sock has now been with us and is in middle school and has transitioned from someone who did not have any confidence to performing a solo in our in-person showcases last summer. The song was Alone in the Universe from Seussical, and it was stunning. It is customary for the education and outreach staff to stand at the back, and if you ask any of us, there was not a dry eye among us. This spring, I had the privilege of casting Sock in the leading role of our midwinter break showcase, a role in which they excelled. Backstage, I witnessed as they encouraged fellow castmates, and on stage, they got lots of laughs. In addition to creating spaces for returning students like Sock to shine, the acting studio is a place for new students, many of whom have never stood on a stage before. While our hope is to create a space that students and their families return to year after year, we recognize that life is uncertain. What better example of that than COVID? Some of our students may only take one class or camp with us, and we strive to make that class memorable. In the past 4 months, we have cast 4 brand new acting studio students in leading roles in our classes and showcases. And for 2 of those students, that was the first time that they had done any theater, public speaking, and very possibly the first time they had ever had to memorize that many lines. Each one of those 4 students met the challenge that we set And when it came time to perform in front of peers and parents, they shone. I had the privilege of directing these 4 brand new actors as they navigated acting for the first time. And while getting a performance out of an actor is awesome, it is more awesome to watch them build a community backstage that is accepting, encouraging, and fun. The acting studio is a place where any kid can dip into the pool of creativity, even if it is just a pinky toe. We get to tell stories with students, for students. How awesome that Taproot was the place that those students got to do that. Thank you.
The greatest love of all is easy to achieve. Learning to love yourself is the greatest love of all. And if by chance that special place that you've been dreaming of leads you to a lonely place, find your strength in love.
Thank you, Faith and James. I've been thinking about this night for a long time, and I've been thinking about what I would say to you and how I would thank you. We've all been through a lot in the last 2 years. Some have suffered great personal and financial loss. We at Taproot watched our entire industry shut down completely. Our reemergence last fall feels like it's going to stick, but COVID variants keep us cautious. Last year, when we returned to live performance in November for Babette's Feast, I was at the theater almost every night to greet the audience. I wanted to thank them for wearing their masks and showing their vaccine cards, because that was the compliance that was required for us to reopen. The audiences were smaller than they had been before the pandemic, but those who returned were grateful to once again be in community together, sharing laughter, story, and hope. This year in January, when Omicron reared its head, we saw the audiences drop off again due to fear of another resurgence. But those who did come, masked and vaccinated, stayed safe, and we're grateful for the opportunity to share the laughs with See How They Run. And now we have the Spitfire Grill. After 4 weeks of safety, our critically acclaimed musical was shut down part of this week due to COVID. We are performing today. And we plan to offer a full week of performances next week, but with an understudy in the lead role. So this is our new reality, friends. At least for now. We're learning how to still make art in this ever-changing COVID landscape, and we're doing it with your support. So thank you. In many ways, the Spitfire Grill marks a line in the sand. This is the final show that would have been in our 2020 season had we not had to close the theater. It was the last show that Scott and Pam were going to do together before they retired from their full-time positions at Taproot. It was the last production that we had promised and owed to our subscribers. It feels wonderful to have paid that debt and to have provided the remainder of that beautiful 2020 season. So, what's next? Well, I'm just bursting with news. Plans, projects that I could tell you about the 2022 mini season, an offering of diverse work that we hope will entice folks back into the theater for fun, mystery, music, and story. But you can read about that in a brochure. Or how about the acting studio? It's been beating its enrollment goals all year, and the summer looks like it's going to be bursting at the seams. But you could find information about that on our website. Or how about the road company? It's already getting calls from schools asking if they can book a live bullying prevention play for next fall, which they can. And it's so exciting. But I'm not going to talk about any of that. Maybe I just did, but anyway, tonight, I'm standing in front of you all because you love Taproot, or because somebody you know loves Taproot, and they asked you to come to this gala. This is not my first Taproot gala by any means, but it's my first time as producing artistic director speaking to a room full of people and friends across the country. Hi again. This time I'm going to say hi to Evie in Louisiana. About why I love Taproot and what I hope for our future. There are so many of us here in this room who have a Taproot story. Here's my Taproot story. Some of you know I was a professional actress in my early 20s, working all across the country, mostly in Shakespeare festivals, when I made my way to Seattle. I was introduced to Taproot during a critical time in my life, a turning point. What I saw at Taproot was different than anything I had seen in my career. I started as a child actor, so at 24, I was already a veteran. What the leadership at Taproot modeled for me was a way of working that was deeply concerned with the total care of its artists and staff. A desire for folks to live fully, abundantly, and joyfully. One of my first experiences at Taproot was telling Scott I really needed to miss a rehearsal to attend a funeral. My experience before Taproot told me that I might get fired for that. But Taproot's response was one of deep empathy and concern for my grief. You may not be aware, but our national arts industry has a deeply embedded problem with overwork and burnout. It stems from cultural values that have historically prioritized making great art as a higher value than caring for people. Our industry is in the middle of a national reckoning regarding abusive work practices, including 7-day work weeks and 10 to 12-hour work days. These are things that Taproot has never instituted, despite industry pressure. Because from the very beginning, Taproot desired to live into the value of we respect people. As theaters are trying to change, I have recently been asked by colleagues throughout the city and country to share how Taproot has managed to operate for 46 years without these practices. And I have been sharing our approach with them. And I'm proud that Taproot didn't make these choices because it was trendy or because it looked good. Our reasons have always been tied to our mission. Caring for the whole artist encourages relationships and leaves room for an outside life and family by providing the time needed to nurture and care for both. I met my husband acting in a show here at Taproot. And I recently counted almost 24 marriages that were a direct result of couples who met working together at Taproot. And I know there are some in-laws, there are some parents of those people in the room right now, tonight. We have one set of donors who their two sons met their spouses. They only have two sons. Both of them met their spouses at Taproot. That's a shout out to the Bradys, if they're listening from Chicago. Now, that may be a sweet story, but what does that mean for the art? I think it means that we come to you as a community of artists in our full abundance of life and love, and not in our scarcity. We live lives of hope and joy, and it's reflected in our work. We aren't perfect. We're learning every day about things that we can do better and ways that we can live more intentionally into our mission and values. But we believe deeply in the good that exists in all of us. And we tell stories that stimulate and agitate for a more hopeful, empathetic, and compassionate world. I am excited for the future of Taproot. There's so many more stories I could share with you, but I'm even more excited to hear about your Taproot stories. As I get to know more of you in this Taproot community, I'd like to invite you to reach out and share those stories with me. Because here's the thing. Theater is not made by artists alone. There are some art forms that can exist for just the artist, but theater is not one of them. Theater cannot be theater unless there is an audience. Our Taproot stories are never complete until they join together with your Taproot stories. You see, it's the togetherness of theater that makes it so powerful. Creating stories together, witnessing stories together. Each performance that you see at Taproot is unique because each audience is a unique combination of people. Theater is different every single night, and that difference is you. We literally cannot do what we do without you. You are the final, crucial piece of every story told by Taproot. Friends, I said at the beginning that I've been thinking a lot about what I would say tonight. I didn't know who all would be in the room or watching the live stream. I didn't know all of your names or what faces would be looking back at me at this moment. But I knew. I just knew that this would be a special moment. Because you, whoever you are, would be here. And we would be together again. I can't tell you how glad I am that we are together again. Thank you so much for coming, and thank you for being a part of the Taproot story. And now I'd like to introduce you to my friend, Doug Freiberg. Doug?
What an amazing night. I am so grateful for what this team has put together. So let's hear it for the whole team at Taproot. My name is Doug Freiberg, and I'm a member of the Taproot Theater Company Board of Directors. We've heard a lot of stories tonight about the positive impact of Taproot, the positive impact for students, for artists, for patrons, and for families. I'd love to quickly tell you my Taproot story. I fell in love with live theater at Ballard High School under Mr. Earl Kelly, a great man. But later, as the commitments of life continued to grow with marriage and kids and work and family, I made little time for theater. About the time our daughter was 15, I was looking for a way to connect with her more, as I had done through sports with our son. Now, I'm not exactly sure how it happened, but I decided to subscribe to Taproot Theater. That subscription has turned into 20 years of daddy-daughter dates. Don't do that, you guys. I'll lose it. In fact, we will be at Taproot on Wednesday to see Spitfire Grill. So there are many options to spend time with family and friends, to build relationship, to enjoy each other's company. But for me, an evening together with a loved one at Taproot has been one of the most rewarding investments of time I have ever made. As time has gone on, our family business has been a sponsor for some of the Christmas shows, and we have enjoyed bringing the whole family. The grandkids especially enjoyed Merry Christmas, Charlie Brown. I believe that this has provided opportunities to plant seeds in their lives that might turn into an appreciation of the arts. I joined the Taproot board because I believe in the value of Taproot Theater Company, and am hoping that our continued support will carry it on its legacy to our children and beyond. I know that many of you in this room could share similar stories, and it's really those stories that bring us together tonight, in person, gathering again in support of Taproot Theater even after 2 years of distance. So now is our chance to say thank you. Thank you for the impact that Taproot Theater has already had on so many lives, on my life. Now is also our chance to give in hope towards the impact that we want Taproot to have in the years to come. I'm thinking of my own daughter and family as I give to Taproot tonight. But I'm also thinking about other daughters who will attend acting studio classes and watch hope-filled stories on the Jewel main stage. I'm thinking about the future families who will make memories at Taproot that they will treasure for a lifetime. What we give tonight, that's what makes this future possible. Our support for all the great programs that were just highlighted on stage will create a positive impact in our community that can only come from Taproot. Now, our goal for the evening is $200,000, and it's a big, big goal, but it matches a big vision. And every dollar we give tonight goes straight toward that vision. So as someone who has a Taproot story, I'd like to invite you to join me in supporting this organization that has given so much to me and my family. Tonight, we are working together to invest in our future so that someday the next generation can stand up here and tell their own Taproot story. That's what I want for my family. Thank you for being here tonight. Thank you for your generosity. And I'll now hand you back to the wonderful Karen Lund to close out the evening. Good night, everybody.
So we had a very special call just a few days ago. We have a long-time anonymous Taproot donor that is coming back after COVID and wants to invite you back too. And they've offered to match any extra giving up to $5K. So what I mean by that is if you were going to give $500, but you decide to give $1,000 instead, your extra $500 will be doubled. With your help, that could mean an additional $1,000 that we weren't expecting tonight. We send out a huge thank you to this donor for this awesome pledge and for believing in Taproot for many, many years. Now, if you'd like to join Doug, myself, and our anonymous donor in giving to Taproot tonight, then I'm delighted to tell you that the staff at Taproot Theater have made that process really easy. There are several ways to donate this evening. You can use the response cards and envelopes on your table to enclose a check or share your credit card information, but be sure to include your name, the amount of your donation, and all required fields if using a credit card. You can also scan the QR code in your program. Yes, that is how fancy we are. So it's in your program in the response card, or you can text the word Taproot to 53555 to get a link to donate online. Or you can also use the response cards to indicate a pledge you will follow up on later with other payment options, including IRA distributions, IRA, or DAFs, DAFs, etc. So I'm going to go over them again. Use the response card to donate tonight with a check or credit card number. Use the QR code to get a link. Text the word Taproot to 53555 to give tonight. Or use the reply card to make a pledge. After you've completed your card, please hand them to a Taproot staff member holding one of the big gold envelopes. Those will be collected by development staff and brought safely to Taproot tonight. If you have any questions, feel free to ask a Taproot staff member. If you're watching from home, you'll see our website and the QR code on your screen, or you can also text the word Taproot to 53555 to get a direct link to donate online. We're going to give you a few minutes to fill out those cards, and I'll be right back to wrap things up. Will you join me in thanking our event sponsors, the National Christian Foundation, David Allay, our presenting sponsor, plus our wonderful table hosts. Also, thank you to the cast and crew for their hard work. And to the Triple Door for a wonderful evening. On behalf of the Taproot staff and board and the whole theater company, thank you for your generous support and thank you for celebrating with us together. This evening is just one more example of all the ways that we shine brighter together. Have a wonderful night. One last song.